Is that just yours?
You said help me.
Because it looks serious.
I look too big.
Working it. Fine, sis. Little update. Grand Chief, Assistant Grand Chief Mika, he was usually Grand Chief at the Bey Temple in Asbury Park. And also he acts as head mufti at the National Theater where we do classes in New York on Wednesdays. The sister in Rutherford, New Jersey, upstate anyway, unconscious sister. So they're taking her through foreclosure, you know, the usual corruption crap. And so someone turned her on to the Reconveyance, whatever that we put on the website. And she wasn't national, but she used the Reconveyance and she used the discovery. So now they're, you know, trying to throw her out on the street. So she's in court. They're trying to throw her out on the street. No, foreclosure. Yeah. And that's the sister of any of you heard who they kidnapped a couple weeks ago?
May heard.
Well, kidnapped is when they unlawfully take her. All right. Anyway, so she got out. She was using some writs. Got out. And intimidating. Because understand they don't intimidate you because this represents a change in the world. Really. You know. So you really got to understand. Although this information may be dispensed in what you would call casual manner, when we speak, the world shakes. So don't assume it's small just because we're humble. If you understand, because this is the foundation of what runs this planet called Earth, socially, economically, and politically. The trouble that they have is that the Asiatics, the direct descendants of the ancient Moabites, Moors, of North America, Northwest Amexem, who were called Negroes, Blacks, Colored, etc., were the main target not to know this information. This is also why you need to see a lot of conflict in thought, a lot of conflict in process when you see some people representing this information in different institutions, temples, churches, other institutions. When you see conflict of action relative to not being Rotarian, which is really what this organization and institution actually is, it may confuse people sometimes. Do you understand? But you must understand the whole foundation of politics in the Western Hemisphere. And the politics in the Western Hemisphere is based on, as you all know, which I told you before, the Treaty of Rome between the papacy of Rome and Pope Innocent III, which you would know in history as the Spanish Inquisition. And I'm just updating you loosely, redundantly, to put you in the frame of mind of different things that we're going to talk about. Right? And even that reconveyance. So to understand the politics is to understand the motivations behind people who are in positions of power. Are we clear? Whether they're on the European side or whether they're on the Asiatic side. Are we clear? And so certain information is given to you for these purposes, for your economic, social, and political development, and on the other hand, for your actual spiritual development, versus dogma, which has been artificially given to people to actually stagnate you. And until you get certain keys, most people go through these lessons or get involved with different studies, whether church, mosque, or synagogue, and they get confused because they don't know the rules. The adepts, grand chiefs, rabbis, imams, high priests, seers, psychologists, PhDs, doctors of philosophies, etc., are all doctors of philosophy and law. All of them are. Are we clear? Do not get confused when you see these different names and think that the foundation of their degrees are not relative, because they absolutely are. You understand? So if you see a PhD in mathematics, he's a doctor of philosophy. PhD in religion, which is an abbot, reverend, bishop, all schools, any of those names, Eastern Star, Master Mason, psychologist, doctor of law, all of them are doctors of philosophies. Are we clear? These philosophies, can I talk, sis? I've never used my white, as if I had a whiteboard. I was using my marker like I had a whiteboard. Now, and it's important for you to know this because I want you to, because we have limited time when we're doing classes, and I might bounce around on different subjects, I'm doing it to paint pictures in your mind. Because we have to cover a lot of ground in concept in order to bring people over years of proper education and at the same time trying to baptize or purge them altogether. Because the sorcerers at work to bury you again at the same time while others may be trying to raise you. And they outnumber us. You understand? Plus they own the institutions, if you get the point. And so the deal of it is that the students and the neophytes must be willing to open up their chakras on their own. You can't do that for them. But you can stimulate them or give them keys that will stimulate their ancient memory that they don't know they have. If you understand what I'm saying. That's what the Moorish Divine National Movement is actually for. In spite of what you may think that you see when you go to those temples or other places, that's what they're actually for. On the spiritual side, dealing with the art of breath to activate the pineal gland and the pituitary gland. Now, the pineal gland is symbolized with the fez, with that crown, with that tassel, etc. I was doing some work, so y'all excuse me. So I was doing some work in the apartment, so I just come like I am because I couldn't get things done. I was trying to get, well, you know how that goes. Anyway, the tassel and that umbilical cord and that navel that you look at as a finial represents the crown chakra, but also represents the pineal gland. Now, of course, and we talked about earlier in lessons about tetragrammaton, which is the proper name of God. But it's not the proper name of God, it's the proper name of the divine that produces God. And so you must understand those principles, meaning that, put it this way, this is redundant, but I'm going to do this because we have new people here and I really want you to understand. And I want you to understand particularly, because we talked on the phone before, and because of your question, and the interesting thing is that's redundant. People from around the world have the same question. And that's because things are changing, but they must change in order to save humanity. Because we create our own conditions by virtue of what's here. You understand? And see, dogma has made or trained the people to look outside of themselves for gods and demons and devils, when really it's you. And true religion reveals that to you. Dogma gives you something to worship. And that's hard for people to accept because they've been trained for so many generations to look at what they call divine order from that dogma perspective, and they think that's what it is. It is not, and has never been. You understand? That's the source of the disharmony on the planet that we've been calling evil. Are we clear? Now, symbolically, and I'm not going to burden you with this, but I'm just going to do a little bit, all right? And when you see that pyramid and you see one like this also on an odd angle, right? And then you see these connectors as something like this, right? Right? And then you see down there, you see, and you have 9 circles, etc. This is symbolically tetragrammaton. I'm just giving you symbols. I'm not going to go into this deep, but I'm just printing your mind, right? Tetragrammaton. Tetragrammaton is what is known, whether in the spiritual realm and even in your physical work, including your work that you have to do related to this and in your development to the oneness. You know, like when Raleigh says, Allah, Amin, or one. You understand? Now, the philosophies by which this work is done are binding, or what you call that unity, which is referred to Gnosticism. Right? You understand? Right? Which means the disciplines and the processes that take place here in the unseen realm, which is symbolically represented with sacred geometry. That's actually the evolutionary process that takes place in your spiritual sojourn here. Each one of these have a marker. I'm not going to put them there because I'll take up all day. And then I'm going, but I'm just giving you the picture. We'll deal with this later. And one of the things I wanted to do, I wanted to do a lesson on this and have it for you today and pull it off my computer, but I got so many flash drives and stuff and hard drive. And the flash drive that I had to work on, actually, I transferred a RIP to Sister Rose the other day, and Heru did it for me. And what he did, he misformatted my drive and pulled it out. But anyway, but I wanted you all to see this to back up what I was telling you all before. And this is so that preachers, sheiks, grand sheiks, because consistently as I travel the country and I deal with different people that call me from around the world, because people are getting wicked. And more you see that conflict of people who have known these secrets and have held them back, that will come out in different areas of the world trying to counter me. Because they're angry that I revealed these secrets to the masses, while that's what gave them their degrees. Many who paid thousands of dollars for those degrees and took oaths to Rome to hold these secrets from you. This is another reason why they really don't like Raleigh, including some of the grand chiefs who are actually infiltrators. It's not all. You will know them by their works. The best way to tell them is once you know the truth, then you know who's who. But once you don't know keys, you get caught up in personalities, which you should never do, and you get distracted. But if you know the keys, if you know the things that gave them their degrees, meaning that if I'm an abt or a grand chief, what makes me that? If I'm a high priest, what makes me that? If I'm a PhD, what is it that makes me that? What is the basis upon which these people get these titles? Is it because they bumped their head this morning and talked to Jesus or Allah, Muhammad? Not really. Those titles are given to them by virtue of what they know. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Some of the titles are passed around loosely for nepotism or favors. However, the reality is the earning of those degrees to be qualified to hold those titles is based on the true knowledge of religion. And the reason why you see a lot of people even today starting to shun religion is because they recognize the falsities and the non-working things that were given to them. But what they also don't know is that they weren't given religion. So religion has been given a bad name by wicked sorcerers who've been teaching dogma for centuries as a substitute, as fiat religion. And so the masses are measuring what these people have done by the word religion when they've never had religion. Do you understand? The grand sheets of the Moorish Science Temple of America and Moorish Holy Temple of Science were put in place to teach these things, which is codified as the learnings of Muhammad. Do you understand? That's how they get their sheet rooms. And tests are taken to see if they're qualified. You understand? This is also why recently I started reading to you all from the Book of the East to show you that Arabs have a different degree of knowledge. So when people go into the temples and they just see the Holy Quran, Circle 7, you know, for the lessons for those who love Jesus, it is because that's where the prophet found you. Do you understand? But he also tells you Islam is given in degrees, which means once you get in degrees and you get grounded, then he takes you out of darkness from under Roman rulership and takes you back to the Hebrew child priest and make you a priest unto yourself. And then he tells you Yeshua, which is the truth. You see? But if you don't know that, spiritually, that stagnates you because you do not begin to develop because you're practicing lies. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And then the other issue is when you see the different names of the prophets, 5 names on the prophets on your nationality card, it is an indicator to you that part of the mission is to reassemble Horus. Now, Arabs know that, but they're not telling you that, but they should have told you that. Do you understand?
I'm not following you say
All right, when you see the ancient story in Hikupta of Seth chopping up Horus and scattering around the world, all right, that scattering made Horus impotent, meaning that killed his strength.
Right.
Not unlike somewhat the story of, but on a smaller level story of Samson and Delilah, where she cuts his hair off and he loses his power. Because your hair is your antenna. Right? Now, but on a greater level, the chopping of a Horus made him impotent. Now, the story follows that Isis gathers the pieces back together again to make him potent, which is why you see all religious houses or buildings, what they call house of God type thing, have a spire, which represents a penis, which represent production, reproduction, potency. So now she can make it. Now they can put the world back together again.
Okay.
Did you get the whole point?
Yes.
All right. Now the story is told in different forms, but that's what that means. You understand? Because there's nothing here but a mother and her son. If you understand, and all things made come through her. This is why all ancient religions are.
Is that what the obelisk represents?
Obelisk, yes,
Okay.
exactly. And so when you see a mosque, the same thing. That's why when you see City Hall, the spire is on the north, and all the other 4 corners are low. Same thing. It's designed just like a mosque. Because that's the old battleground where they defeated us. You understand what I'm saying to you? Cornwallis.
Cornwallis?
I'm just giving you keys of history that's here, that's your history, that you may associate only with Europeans. And that's why the significance of the Mummers Parade, why they judge in front of the battleground and then it ends at the Grand Lodge, 1 North Broad Street. You got to understand, all these little symbols are done with people who rule or secret societies that they can do it in the face of people, and people grow up and never know what's going on. They're asleep, or got the mentality of boys and girls, and you can spit in their face and they'll swear it's rain because the preacher said so. No, I'm serious. And this is how this thing has really worked, because the people think they've had religion. They've never had religion. Never. Religion is the scientific and artful study of the universe and its influences and effects on all things, life forms and the planets, and their influences on life on the planet and the evolutionary development of human beings on the planet with the animal species, etc., and the workings of nature. That's religion. Huh? That's Gnosticism.
Yes, you forgot the interest. G-N-O-S-C-I.
Say again.
Gnosticism, Gnosti.
Oh, I apologize. Thank you. Now you all fix this. Don't let the brother mess you up now. And this is referred to in Islam Islamism. And this is why you always say, what is your religion? And you say, Islamism. So you question it, right? Islamism? Well, yeah. Why? That's why. It's working science. See, look at it from this way. Any discipline or art that you learn, there's levels on how people come to this. Some come and look at things and speculate. Some come and work with things and operate. So speculative and operative. Islam, from a creed perspective, for the most part, is symbolic and speculative. Islamism is operative, which means you must become what you know. Meaning the rituals and the symbols are acknowledged, but you outgrow them. And recognize that that's not religion. It's only symbol. So if you look at the baptism, we deal with water and stuff like that. That's a ritual. You understand? But the actual is philosophy applied. Right? Creed, principles, prayer. Right? Gnosticism, meditation. Dedicated studies with conscious activation of the medulla, the pineal, and the pituitary glands, knowing that that's what you're doing.
So,
And looking for effects and measuring. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? It doesn't deal with you believing anything. And this is very important for you to understand. I'm telling you these things so that you can understand the state of mind of people who have titles that be ruling over you but never tell you. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? True religion does not support beliefs. Are we clear? True religion does not support, does not promote, does not encourage belief systems. Believers are not qualified for religion. They're only qualified for dogma or drugs, or 40 or blunt, or whatever makes them high, moon rock, and giving Jesus heads for Susie for the preacher. Are we clear? But yet all these people run around talking about their religion. Do you see the whole point? Just like people run around talking about money, and very few of us have any money in our pockets. It's fiat. Very few people know religion. It's fiat. Few people know true law, de jure law. They got de facto fiat law, or color law. Not unlike our people think they're people of color, when actually they're Moors. It's all the same thing. All that illusion comes from that Treaty of Rome. Are we clear? From the real reason secret societies exist in North America and over the world is to keep the rulers and the sheikhs clear of the BS that most of them themselves have perpetrated on the planet. Are we clear?
so
Get yourself an answer.
I can go.
Yeah, this is open. Go ahead.
So it sounds like some type of spiritual alchemy or something that
It
you're
is.
doing with,
It is.
you know.
It is.
It was pretty powerful.
Because that's an area of what true religion is. I'm just told, that's what I told you what it is.
So is this the reason why you had all the symbols on everything?
That's what the symbols are. The symbols are sacred geometry.
To invoke
But
states
rare,
of consciousness?
yes, because the real deal of it is that in the spiritual realm, voice is not so much heard, it's pictures.
Right.
And the symbols reflect actually the structure that's outside the body.
Right. Because as children we think in pictures.
And it's more potent.
More than words, yeah.
It is more potent. See, but the deal of it is, and this is the reason why dogmatists use religion and get people so involved in their physical bodies from a perspective of, goods and evils, and the devil's going to get you, God's going to kick your ass Thursday. I'm serious. And it gives you people fear, guilt, superstition, controls you, and they get your lunch money. And then that is the lot that's prepared for your life. That's why Allah sends prophets, to rescue you from these sorcerers here.
Right.
These sorcerers always tell you the devil's doing things to you. See what the devil is? You better watch them. You understand what I'm saying to you? That's why they have that it's still called a rostrum. It's called a pull pit. Pull you into that pit. And you're looking for hell someplace else. And you don't know that that's the vampire. I'm telling you the truth. I'm not knocking them. I'm not saying they're terrible guys. Now, that's the truth. Handle it. Or don't. Doesn't matter, because they're going to do what they do anyway. And if you don't face what I just told you, you will be victim of them, because they are vampires.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And they'll take the widow's pennies and everything else. Why do you think the Nazarene went in the temple and turned over the table of the money changers? Was he dealing with some demons? He was dealing with people, dogmatists, who call themselves religious. Just like you look at most of the people that learn dogma and swear they know religion.
You see what was happening? Allah sent Jesus. And when Jesus was the master teacher, and he was trying to help the people up, and then the devil, when people was doing good stuff, came there messing with Jesus and everything. That's why we raised the money and kicked the devil's ass Thursday at 2 o'clock on Broad and Oxford.
Everybody goes, oh, hallelujah. They start giving you all the money and stuff. But all them sorcerers know, no devil. Devil's a scapegoat. It was them dogmatists claiming to be religionists who were in partnership with the state that plotted this murder. With all the prophets. Including the same ones that ran Prophet Muhammad out of Mecca. They're trying to tell you what Islam is and what Islam is not now. In fact, you looking for some mystery devil that they created. Keep your eyes off them. And it worked. Islam.
In the 101s, it says the children of Adam and Eve were Satan.
Lucifer, Satan, devil, dragon, and beast. And drew all these the dragon's tail. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you what this information is really for. So you don't have to be guessing, because a lot of people get in this movement and they only see certain things and people only tell them certain parts of it. Do you understand? And then you see a lot of them get pissed off.
Say, they don't teach that civic stuff. This is spiritual.
They don't teach spirituality. This is the spirituality that they got. And I know they ain't teaching it.
So the other one, Satan, Lucifer.
It is character.
Characters.
It is character. That's why one of the keys, and listen to this. I want to show you something. Thank you. I want to show you something. The Asiatics of North America need to learn to love themselves
I'll show you that.
and know of their higher self and their lower self. Part of your lessons is that evolutionary stage to get from the higher self to the lower self, which is called the bonding or the oneness with the spirit, i.e., that's how you know yourself. Do you understand? And that process is called union with the Supreme Spirit.
So what is
Tetra, wait, hold on, tell you. tetragrammaton is the process. So tetragrammaton is that what is known as in religious circles, and don't get confused when we say Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, because the root of them all are this. This is called the that's what that's called. And as a shortcut for the masses, right? There's a shortcut for the masses. And this is expressed as Alain, Allah, Elam. Alain, Allah, Elam. They all mean the same thing, just different dialects. Are we clear? Now I'm not going to burden the board because I'm going through some other stuff, but I want to drop this at you to put you in a proper state of mind for your spiritual development. Right? And then that breaks down as this. Now the people who don't know the science are told that this is and that this is this. But they're lying. This is this. And this is what this does. Are we clear?
No.
I want you to pay attention. But this is for you important. And this is, we're going to go into this later in more detail because I'm going to make sure that you get this. Because I'm going to do some lessons on this strictly. It's just it's going to take a lot of work to purge you. But once y'all purge you, you'll know. Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you all Circle 7. And you all, I'm going to give you an ephemeris chart. I'm going to bring them and have one made up big enough to post. And you're going to do your Trinity. I'll show you how to do your Trinity. After you do your Trinity, then you're going to take it on your own and get it interpreted. But that's the beginning of knowing yourself. You understand what I'm saying? Meaning that that's how masterminds know themselves. But it goes beyond that. Of course, you go to your north and south node. You get deeper into it. That's cosmology, astrology, and the philosophy of that is called yoga. So it's a whole area of studies. And for the advanced one, you have 14 lessons called Advanced Lessons in Yoga. So, you know, for those who are ready to learn, make sure you get that, you know. But that's because we have the end, not so much end, I'm going to attack that counter activity of some people with titles who've been going on YouTube and other places trying to counter what we've done because we've made them irrelevant. And not because I care, I don't bother with them because I'm not here for them. But because of the people who are victims to them and or still may be confused. Because that's the reason this movement is here. Yes. If you understand, want to free those least amongst you. It's being brought across the mountain to the highest point. But you gotta know what it is. It's not for you to accept. It's for you to know and to understand. Then accept. Do you understand? But what it does, it's a high and speedy graduation. Because that's what you're going to need to protect yourself from what they're getting ready to do to this planet. What they've been doing, but what they're getting ready to do on a crash course. And so in the process, they're going to eliminate a lot of people so it's going to save you from them. So because you got to know what's really up. It's not.
You mentioned Nazarene. Are you referring to Jesus? Is that, did he?
The one they call Jesus is the Nazarene.
So he did exist?
In many forms. The character that you've been given is a created character in dogma. but it's the development of the body. You understand? It is this action. It is the union with the Supreme Spirit and a knowledge of the Trinity that I just told you, which is Mother, Father, Son, not Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Father, Son, and Holy Ghost is dogma. Mother, Father, Son is religion. In other words, the ones who've been teaching the people, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, what gave them degrees, their degree is Mother, Father, Son. Meaning that what they're teaching their followers and believers is not what they have for themselves. That's the source of their power. The source of their power is that they know, and the people who follow them don't. So they remain mystery men. You get the whole point? Let's go ahead and preach. You got $5 with you? You make it 10, give Jesus his ass. All right. Because he don't want to hear no jingles. Well, they're opportunists. They're leeches and useless conquerors of society. They've done more to cause damage on this planet than most of your armies. And they've been getting away with it because there are very few to challenge them. You understand? This is why they spent so many years burning books, to create this situation, because they would not have been able to apply their sorcery had the science of our ancient forefathers survived on the planet. They spent over 300 years burning everything they get their hands on and murdering anyone who preserved the knowledge for the masses. Islam.
I don't mean to get off topic, but since you talked about burning books, I was wondering, are there any more maps, or were there any more maps in existence that show basically the true places where we are now?
They burn them too. And they preserve a lot of the old Mapamundi in secret societies.
That's what they're.
Matter of fact, they discovered one in Rutgers, and when he was changing old boards one time, and they immediately closed the room off, and feds came in and took it.
So you wouldn't even be able to find any outside of the country as well?
That's why the darkness is here. That's why they don't like New Drali. Including people who claim to love them. You understand? What I'm presenting to you is really an angle of instruction so that you can look at your Circle 7 and your questionnaire differently, but recognize it from me telling you this. Meaning that, you know how you say, every diamond comes with multiple facets.
Right.
But if someone gives you one or two facets, and you start thinking that's the source of the light, that's what they've done in what is called dogma. But those who are given the sheikdoms, the adequate, they are told about the facets. They have to study, but they're given enough to raise them to the quality to be able to teach, to be qualified for those titles. That's why they get the ecclesiastical degrees, just like I'm a carpenter, right? I have to study to understand the structure of the building. Somebody knock this building down, I can build this building up. Bricks, floor, the electric, the plumbing, the roof, and take it further. But that's math and that's discipline. And that's a knowledge of physics and of materials. Do you understand? Part of it's in your character and your nature, but at the same time, you can't believe this building back up. It's science. You know, and the difference is what they have done to the masses, they have the masses sitting around thinking they can believe things up. And it's always been a lie. That's why they can't solve problems. You understand? True religion makes the physician of you. That's like you see the Bible says, physician, heal thyself. It's because true religion is science. True religion is not you believe in anything. Religion, belief is for the baby while she's working her mind. But then when she becomes a teen, then she's in faith. When she comes adult, she says both of them and comes to the point of fruition. They and the truth will win. And they're qualified to go out into the world. That's why when you so-called graduate, you're ready for the universe, university. All this stuff has been misrepresented. And why do you think when you graduate, they give you mortarboard, which means mother and son masonry, and they throw the tassel 180 degrees. Same tassel you got on the fez. I mean, these things are symbolic, but they're never really explained to the people because they got the people in mental servitude. That's why Drawley said, I came to free you from mental slavery, which you have now. And then he also expresses this battle, you know, or these changes that are going to take place, this development, this evolution must be done in and expressed in a manner and in a way that can't be expressed in words. That's tetragrammaton. That's why it's called ineffable. Ineffable means that which is referred to, or that cannot be expressed in words. Plus, because when you go into tetragrammaton, then you have to go into the science. Now, dogmatists will tell you that religion and science are opposites, and they're lying, because religion is science. But they do that to keep you from recognizing it. Do you understand? You see? So, as an example, with the crown chakra, this is the crown chakra, right? Now with the sister, sis, that represents that jewel at the top of her pineal gland. As you see, the pyramidal shape, there you go. Also the tassel on the fez. I mean, now that's in symbolic. Now, I'll give you this with indicators on all these 9 points to tell you what they are, but I don't want to block your mind right now and get you thinking elsewhere. I want you to stay in this area, you know, because that would be a whole blessings. But giving you the look of tetragrammaton. Absent of these lines, these dots only indicate where these go. Just like, for instance, this is symbolically through, and that's the head. Just as an example. And of course, down here, this is your base. You begin here in the physical form. And this will be related in the science of culture, the lower man or the lower self. This will be referred to the higher self or the higher man or the supreme man. This is your goal. Your goal. Do you understand? The work that it takes to activate this fire, to bring you to this point, is called the ascension. In the church, in Hinduism, it's called nirvana. In other words, and the ride is called activating your energy centers or the chakras. So when you know these things, all of those mean the same thing. But now all masters know that, all teachers know that, all sheets know that. But the masters think that they're different things because they come from different areas, so that's different stuff. You know, but that creates divisions to keep them under control.
Yes.
But the rulers know that there are synonyms in the different religions that are placed there to protect the wisdom from the dummies. You know, so you say shoe, sabato, and it's sabatos. Well, you don't want to wear them shoes. And that's the way it is. And so they teach you prejudices against different religions,
Yes.
which are really different forms of dogma, because what you have is different what? Con artists protecting their money systems. That's all. Protecting their seat warmers.
The book of the East that you're speaking of, is this an extra to that in the back of the appendix of L.E. Pleasant Bey's biography of Louis Raleigh?
No, the book of the East is simply the other half of the Quran that the Grand Sheets had. Book of the East. So instead of being Jesus, is Yahshua. See, because Prophet Raleigh found us under the influence of Rome. You got to understand the politics. The politics is what? Inquisition operations, the Spanish Inquisition, that brought us to where we are now, which is why we can't fix anything. The Prophet know he can't come to us talking about Yahshua and talking about we're really Hebrew and Muslims, and that the one they called Jesus was a Muslim. These people don't believe that. They think Jesus was a Christian because they don't know his history. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? But all secret societies, the first lesson they get is Ruth the Moabitess, his great-great-grandmother. Moabite is the ancient name for war. Everybody in the world knows that except the people who are the descendants of them same people. That's the great Masonic secret. That's why it's hard to save them. That's why everybody lives off of them. Because they're the only ones that don't know. They don't even know they're on their own land. And when you tell them these things, it's like, they'll look at you like you're crazy and never talk to you again. No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
So the prophet had to come to them where they are and then raise them to where they need to be. Problem, this represents the end of Rome. And he did it in a simplistic form so it wouldn't be threatening. So he kept the book simple. And he always said, truth need not be told in the multitude of words. You understand? But you can take this same knowledge and you can make volumes out of it, fluff, and it can still be in there. But if you want to do it for selling, for commercial purposes, but if you want to raise people, tell them the truth.
Yes.
Because all truth is based on principles that are unchanging and don't pass away. And true religion teaches the people those principles. That's why when everybody who really studies ecclesiastics always give hermetic lessons. Or what they call in the different lodges and secret societies, Hermes Trismegistus, Hermes thrice great, thrice Trinity, Triuna. You see, you got to know those things are relative. Now, like you can throw those things out to average people, and if they don't have degrees, they think they're different things. Just like you can show symbolisms to scholars, and they know them. You can show the same symbolisms to people who don't know, who are steeped in dogma, and they'll hate one and accept the other. Do you understand? That's why Drawley said, learn to love instead of hate. You understand? And so when you see the 5 prophets on your nationality card, and then you go study those philosophies, whether you intend to or not, it will lead you to this. You see? And then the more you know, biases and prejudice will leave you. That's a baptism. You see? Washing in water don't get it, but the water represents wisdom. But the wisdom washes your prejudices away. So that purifies you. Because you don't go around hating people because of religion they claim to have, because you know they don't have religion. So out of love, you try to help them. Some listen, some don't. They don't listen, tarry not. Because some got to go.
Yes.
But this thing is going to be fixed. You know? Because when the purge comes, and purge is here, the purging is going to take place whether you like it or not. Because that's the workings of nature, i.e. religion. You see what I'm saying? See, because true religion, your politics can't affect it. The only thing you can do with your politics is hide it from those who believe you. But if they would pay attention to nature, they would know religion without your help.
Yes, yes.
This is why dogmatists always teach against religion, cosmology, and astrology. Why? Because those are keys. Those are keys to civilization. And so people like using the Quran and Drawley talk about keys of civilization being released into the hands of the blossoms of Northwest Amexem in ages, right? Which means the fundamental first part of that Quran are ancient lessons. He tailored them and prepared them for the Moors, specifically for the sickness that we have, that was put on us by sorcerers who we don't even know are sorcerers, because we think they take the sound. They're sorcerers. Now, sorcery is not negative. It can be used negative. It's like electricity. You know, you can turn on the lights over. You can fry yourself. You know what I mean? Toilets are nice. Don't swim in them. That's all. Well, serious. You know, but yet you need water. You know what I'm saying? And really, true religion is to remove the naivety about things, to show you what things really are, how they really work. Do you understand? So, as an example, so keep this in mind. This is vitally important. I'm going to repeat myself. This is vitally important. It's vitally important. So that is one of the most important proper concepts to begin your spiritual development and to purge you. That you have to know this. Because if you don't know this, your concepts will be wrong, just like plugging you into a port in a computer. Plugging you in the wrong port.
Would you build off that little
All right. It is important for you to know that what makes high priests, what makes doctors of law, what makes PhDs. Remember, all these titles that I'm telling you are PhDs. Are we clear?
Yes.
Which means Doctor of Philosophy. Are you clear? Those who rule the planet, those who had churches, mosques, synagogues, temples, etc. What qualifies them to the titles that they bear that makes them rulers over men is a knowledge of this. Not that they've seen it before, but a knowledge of it. A functional knowledge of it. It is the source of their power over the masses. Because they know it and they've held it back from the masses. So it makes them important. It makes the masses only like little boys and girls that are pliable like clay at their will. Without necessarily touching them physically. They manipulate their minds. And how do they do it? They give them dogma. Dogma which amongst the rulers is also called blind faith. The masses get dogma. The rulers get Gnosticism, Islamism. Now, say if I was talking to a rabbi, right? And he asked me what my religion is. I say Islam, he just talked to me on the creed level. I say Islamism, then he talked to me on the Gnostic level. On the osis of the gnosis. It's how you come. That tells them who you are. Do you understand what I'm saying? Our job is to make sure that our people know this. That's the distinction between Moorish Americans and just ordinary Muslims. Not that they're ordinary, and not that we are any better. But this is the truth of what Islam was, even when Prophet Muhammad brought it. That's why they ran them out of Mecca. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And they preserve, and pay attention to this, because it's very important, and this is very, and I'm doing this for you too, so you understand. It's very, the theme of what I'm presenting. And I wish I had another word, because I want this to be in your head. It's like if I give you circle 7, right? Right? All right, I'm Cherokee, black folk, right? We already know those, it's really Anayamwea, those names European made up. All right? So I give you this in physics. You're a scientist. I give you that in physics. What is that? In physics.
The earth.
Say again?
Degrees?
Earth glyphs.
Earth glyph.
What is it?
It's the glyph of the earth. In physics. So scientists that deal with physics, engineering, etc., know that's the earth glyph, right? Now, on a philosophical level, same symbol, right? Right? Then what is it? It's the mundane cross, which is still the earth glyph, and it's also the master's seal. Yeah, exactly. Now, Arabs know that, rabbis know that, imams know that, but they never tell their believers that. Why? Because it would make them masters, like them. But keep in mind, one of the part of Drew Ali's mission that's not spoken of too often by people, even people who claim to be helping the mission, and a lot of them don't because they recognize that he's a dragon slayer after they're hanging around for a while, which means they're going to be eliminated too. is that he's slaying the priesthood. And when they realized that, a lot of them stood off and started working with Hoover to undermine the movement, to shut down the spiritual and national side of the Moorish movement. Remained in the movement, but to shut down its real purpose. It's because they remain in the movement, they look like they're supporting him. Because they already know if you don't know what he really came for, that you won't recognize who they are and who they are not. Now let me take this further. These are feathers. Those are feathers. Now this is the dream catcher. The dream represents the etheric world. Catching it represents consciousness of having the capacity to analyze and to interpret what you catch in the higher mind, in the ethereal world, in this realm. You see? So let me show you the same. Here you go again. What's that? Same thing. Same thing. So now when we go into the master cosmologist or master astrologist, which will be symbolized as this. Right? This is the master alchemist, master astrologer, Moorish America. Who reached those degrees. You understand? Then, what is this called in the church? These are called the deacons.